We are building a studio out of the shed behind me, and we're getting closer and closer every day. What's up, geniuses? My name is AJ Rivera, and welcome back to the road to 100,000 subscribers, the series where I document my journey from 8,000 to 100,000. And today we are at 11,930 something. I'm not exactly sure the number. It is so bright outside. I'm squinting a lot. Sorry, you can't see my eyes. It's been a while since I've shown you guys the progress, and quite frankly, I haven't been recording the progress because I've been busy doing some other stuff. But luckily, the past week, my grandpa was visiting and my dad and him got to get a lot of stuff done. As you can see, the studio's coming out pretty dope. For those of you that already watched this series, you'll know that this door used to not be here. Those used to be the doors over there. I don't know if you can see them. The camera I'm using is a smartphone, and I can't see the screen of the smartphone because I'm using the back camera instead of the front camera. And speaking of cameras, my camera broke, which is why I had to use a smartphone camera. But not to worry, I'm getting a new camera real soon. The Canon EOS SL3, the latest incarnation of my last camera that I used to have before it broke. I don't know why it broke on me. It just did. However, I'm excited to get this new one. But let me show you guys the parts of the shed that you've been missing out on. So the last time I was working on the shed, I was digging some holes. The reason why I was digging those holes was because the bottom of the shed was rotting. This whole thing is made out of wood, and the beams at the bottom, which are wood, were touching the dirt. And after a while, when the ground gets wet, it rains a lot, that wood starts to rot and decay. And because of that, the shed was actually at a slope. The inside was not level, and when you went towards the back of the shed, it went down on a slant. So if I had my chair there, I'd be kind of rolling back a little bit, if you know what I mean. So I dug those holes, spent like 2 hours on them, and then my dad and my grandpa decided we don't need those holes anymore. So kind of did all that stuff for nothing. But I will say what they did instead is a lot better for the shed in general. So where we have all these concrete pillars, or the cinder blocks, is where I had dug these holes. As you can see, all these brown patches are where the dirt was when I was taking out the dirt to make those holes. But as you can see, what they decided to do was put some cinder blocks. These cinder blocks are all over the entire shed. If I walk around here, they are elevating the whole thing off the ground so that none of it touches the dirt. And because none of it is touching the dirt, we're not going to be getting any more rotting anytime soon. And all of these pillars have been leveled out to the same level, so inside the shed it is now balanced out. Unfortunately, I didn't work on that, so I didn't record the process. However, it is so nice to be able to walk into the shed and not have to worry about the sloping. But there's still so much more work that needs to be done on the outside. As you probably saw earlier, some of this paneling is kind of coming off. Just like how we had a problem with the water rotting the beams, there's also water that has rotted the paneling, and it's very weak on the outside. This paneling in general is just really cheap, so we're gonna need paneling more along the lines of this. This is new paneling that we got. However, we don't have enough to fill the entire shed. But the good thing is that my dad said, that my grandpa said, that he has some extra paneling laying around at his house. He lives all the way down in Tennessee, so that's an 8-hour drive from us. However, he said next time he comes to visit, he'll bring some of that. When is that? I have no idea, but it's all right. We don't have to worry about it right now. We can just move on and work on some other stuff. Now, you guys see this door. I mentioned it already before, but as you can tell, I'm really excited about this. I'm so happy that there's a door here, because if you remember, what used to be here was those barn doors that had a lock on the outside. Those were short, they were wide, they didn't offer any sort of protection whatsoever. The lock was on the outside, so literally anybody could break in if they wanted to. So instead of having those doors, we took out those barn doors and replaced it with an actual metal door, like one that you would have at the front of your house. So let me take you over here and show you. We have a nice little window so that there's light that comes in. It's completely metal. And also we got a nice door handle for it and a deadlock. I got the key so I can unlock it anytime I want to. I'll show you guys the inside in a little bit. But another thing that we got here is this step. This is a little concrete step that my dad and my grandpa installed. Before this, there used to be a ramp that went up into the doors. Obviously, we didn't like that, so we put this step instead. And man, I'm so happy with how everything's coming out, dude. Now, let me show you guys the inside of the shed. Dun, dun, dun. And it still looks pretty much the same. However, there's still a little bit more stuff that's going on here. Maybe you remember there used to be a sunroof up here where sunlight used to peek in. We don't want that because one, it was broken, so a little bit of water would leak in every time it rained. And also when recording videos, having that natural sunlight isn't really that great because it conflicts with the other lighting that we're gonna have here, and we don't really want that. Another thing we got going on here is this little patch. I don't know if I got it in any other videos, but my dad took out a section of the flooring to make sure that the beams were still good. And for the most part, they were, but he ended up breaking the flooring. So he just put back what he could, and I covered it with a piece of wood there. Here's some more of that paneling I was talking about. Like I said, we don't really got that much. This is all we got. And then here's something real cool. We finally got an outlet, one outlet, but it's providing power. So the power tools are being powered. Basically, if I wanted to, I can put my phone in there and charge it. So far, everything is going pretty well. I'm really excited for this to be finished. However, there's a couple more things we gotta do, and unfortunately, we're running low on budget. So I don't know exactly when we're gonna be getting it done. But if you wanna support the studio build and help finish this project, feel free to become a Patreon down below. Patreon.com/Adriel Rivera. If you become a patron, you get exclusive bonuses that no other person gets. Plus, everybody that becomes a patron will get their name on a plaque that's going to be displayed in the studio at all times. So everybody will know you were part of the project. And honestly, I just really appreciate that you guys want to support me in the first place. Everybody that's a patron right now, Kaiza, Justin, my girlfriend, thank you guys for all the support. It really means a lot to me. And if you want to become a patron, feel free to join down below. Like I said, you get bonuses. So thank you so much for supporting. So like I said, the studio's not done. There's more things that we gotta do, quite obviously. One of which is installing insulation and drywall. That's probably gonna be the next thing that we're going to do for this project. We gotta get the insulation, but once we do, we're gonna start putting it in. And after we got the insulation in, we're gonna put the drywall in. The insulation is gonna be for keeping in the cool air during the summertime and then keeping in the hot air during the wintertime. I live in Illinois, about an hour away from Chicago. So it gets cold during the winter and hot during the summer. Obviously, that means that this shed is going to need its own AC unit. And the good thing is that we already ordered that unit. It's gonna be coming in sometime around September 26th or something like that. So when it comes in, we're gonna be installing it. It's a split AC heater unit, and it's more than enough to air condition and heat this space. So literally, I could live in here if I wanted to. But this is just my workspace. I wanna make sure that this is just dedicated to work. I don't wanna be too comfortable here, because if I'm too comfortable, then I'm not gonna be working. After we get the AC installed, the insulation installed, the drywall installed, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna finish these outlets, get the flooring in, because we're not just gonna be keeping this floor, we're actually gonna be getting some real flooring. Nothing too expensive, because we don't have a huge budget, like I said. We're probably gonna be running out of that budget real soon. But at that point, the studio is basically gonna be ready for furnishing. I'll start bringing in my computer in here. I'll bring in a rug, some acoustic treatment. I'm gonna be painting the walls, all that stuff. We're still gonna need the paneling for the outside of the studio, but that doesn't mean that we can't use it. So hopefully we can get this done real soon. Now I'm talking about all the furnishing, and I didn't even really explain to you guys what I'm gonna be putting in here. Obviously, it's a studio, so I'm gonna be putting in my recording equipment, but I never really explained the layout. So I'm gonna explain it to you right now. I need a shave. All right, so here we are at my whiteboard. I don't know if you guys knew that I have a whiteboard. It's been in the background of some of my videos, but here it is in full. We're gonna use it to lay out how the studio is gonna look like. So first things first, I gotta draw out the studio. Here's the studio. We have the door over here, but the idea of the studio is to have a desk right here. Might have drawn that a little too big. There we go. This desk towards the back is gonna be a pretty big desk. This is gonna be where I record all my tutorials, all my YouTube videos. And the reason why I want it off the wall is so that I can decorate the background to make it look really nice and have really good, aesthetically pleasing videos. Now, I'm planning on getting some equipment so that I can have my lighting, my camera, my microphone, everything connected to my desk, so nothing has to move, and all my recording equipment will be in one spot. This desk is also gonna be big enough to have multiple people at the same time. So in the future, if I have people over for like a live stream, we'll be able to have multiple mics, multiple people sitting at this desk. Also, if somebody wants to come over and work, my brother does a lot of coding, programming, and if he wants to come into the shed, get some peace of mind while I work too, he can come in, put in his stuff there, boom. Also, any of my friends that want to get some work done too, they can come to the shed, sit down with me, and we're good to go. So you're probably thinking that if the desk is all the way back here and the camera's gonna be pointing this way, what do we need all this space for? Well, this is a studio. In a studio, you don't just have the things that you record with. All the recording equipment and stuff like that we're gonna be using is gonna be all in the back over here, but this space is gonna be used for lounging. So what we're gonna end up doing is having some sort of couch, probably around here. A small enough couch, nothing too huge. Let me add in some more details so you know it's a couch. Boom, couch. And then also we'll probably have a coffee table here. This way, if there's people over, they want to take a little break and just sit down and chill, there's a couch that you could sit on, coffee table if you want to put your laptop there or anything like that. And right across from the coffee table, we are going to have a coffee bar. I'm gonna get a coffee machine. I'm not really too big on drinking coffee, but if I'm gonna go all out on the shed, I'm gonna put a coffee machine in there. I'm I'm gonna start drinking some coffee. Not too much though. Not only is there gonna be a coffee machine, but there's gonna be a mini fridge. That mini fridge will store obviously all the coffee stuff, but also other things like water, some snacks just in case, and anything else I might need to be refrigerated. My girlfriend also got me this. This is a mini griddle. This is gonna be going in my studio too. So in the morning, if I wanna make myself some food, I can do that. It's pretty dope. Thank you, babe. We're also gonna have cups and things like that there. So whenever guests come over, they can use that stuff too. Gonna be a trash can somewhere around there as well. I'll figure that out. Cause obviously with some food, there's gonna be some garbage. So we're gonna make sure that there's a place to throw that away too. And then I'm thinking right above the coffee bar, we can put in a TV. Where am I going to get this TV, you ask? I already have it. This TV used to be in my old room before we moved. I had it hanging on the wall and I used it a good amount. I haven't put it up yet. I was going to hang it up in this room. However, once we started building the studio, I saved it so that we could have it there as well. A Chromecast is connected to this, so if I want to, I could put up YouTube videos, my YouTube videos. If I'm live streaming, I could put the live stream up right there. So if I'm live streaming over here, I can check how the live stream looks like on the TV. Also, this is a lounge area. So if you're gonna lounge around, you're probably gonna want some entertainment. I'm not planning on throwing any parties in here or anything like that, but if I have a couple friends over, we could all sit down on the couch, pull up some chairs that I'll probably have around this desk, watch a movie or something. It's gonna be pretty dope. And the more I explain this, the more I'm thinking I could probably move this couch back and save some space. And another thing that my girlfriend came up with, which is a really great idea, having coat hangers somewhere around here and here, about 3 of them on each side. Since the studio is completely disconnected from my house, I'm gonna have to take a little commute there. It's like a 30-second walk, but during the winter time, it's gonna be cold, there's gonna be snow, so I'm gonna throw on my jacket, throw on my shoes, walk to the studio, and I'll have a place to hang my stuff. But speaking of my shoes, my girlfriend thought it'd be a great idea to make a little cubby as well for people's shoes. So when you take off your shoes, you can put it in there, have them stowed away. And if you have any backpacks or anything like that, you can put them there too. And now that I think about it, another good idea would probably be having a welcome mat at the front of the door. So with it being a studio, we obviously want some acoustic treatment. You don't want to have a lot of reverb from the studio, and this will especially create a lot of reverb. There's high ceilings. It's a rectangular room, so there's gonna be a lot of reflections. Now, the original plan was to get a rug, and a big enough rug to cover most of the flooring. That way there's a place on the floor that sound could be absorbed. However, my dad and my grandpa were talking. They were saying that they might get some sort of carpet. It might just be easier that way. However, we'll figure it out once it gets to there. If we do get carpet and we don't get any sort of hard flooring, then a rug isn't really necessary. We could still get one to make it look nicer, but it would probably be a smaller one for the lounge area. But I would probably still get a welcome mat just so the shoes don't get the floor dirty or the carpet dirty. I'm probably gonna end up having a printer somewhere here too, because our house doesn't have a printer. So it'd be a good idea to have one there, because there are some things that we gotta print out from time to time. My little brother still goes to school. Sometimes I wanna print out some documents, but I can't. I have to get them from somewhere else. So having a printer in the studio is definitely gonna be a nice addition. Also, I wanna have some smart lighting. One thing about me is I'm really big on smart stuff. I love Google Home Minis. I love smart light bulbs. I have them in my room right now, and I always use them, which is why my lamp is always a different color for each video. So I'm probably gonna get some RGB lights to be on display back here. However, for lighting up the entire studio, I'll probably get some smart lights that only change in color temperature. So nothing RGB. However, it can go from a white light to a tungsten light. And I'm still contemplating if I wanna bring my guitars and ukuleles in there. It's probably the best idea because that's where I'm gonna be making my music. So having that stuff in there would definitely make it easier for me to make music with. So I probably will. I just gotta figure out where I'm gonna put them. And another thing is my keyboards. I have 3 MIDI controllers. One of them I take with me all the time in my backpack, but the other 2 I keep out, and I would love to have space dedicated to those controllers. Preferably, I would like my 49 key MIDI controller to have its own keyboard stand, but I gotta figure out where I would put that in the studio. However, I don't think it would be too difficult to come up to that conclusion. But adding all this stuff is going to take a little bit of money. Like I said, we're running low on budget. We barely have enough to even finish the studio in the first place. The rest of the furnishing is gonna be coming out of my pocket. So if you guys wanna help fund the studio, feel free to join my Patreon down below like I mentioned earlier. It honestly makes such a huge difference, and your name will be on a plaque in the studio displayed at all times. Also, if there's any brands watching, feel free to sponsor me. It'll definitely help with the studio build, and I would really appreciate the help. I got a new EP dropping September 25th. It's called Nostalgia Hits, and if you guys want to help support me, feel free to check out the pre-save link in the description. Also, if you want to join me and the rest of the community in talking on Discord, feel free to join the Discord down below as well. I love interacting with you guys. It's really fun to have conversations with you, and I'll definitely love to hear your ideas about the shed too. So feel free to share your thoughts on the Discord. Links are in the description. I really appreciate you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all your constant support. I really appreciate it. But most importantly, don't be afraid to show your genius.
Little queen, be done.